Hello and welcome back to World Talks here on TVP World. I'm Anna Kalczyńska. As climate extremes become more frequent in Central Europe, Poland is currently facing a paradoxical hydrological threat. Forecasts warn of torrential rains, while the Vistula River, the country's longest waterway, remains at historical low levels. This combination of drought and sudden deluge poses a unique environmental and infrastructural challenge. I am joined now by Aleksandra Wiktor, Greenpeace Poland and biodiversity campaigner, to understand the implications and potential solutions to this looming crisis. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us here on TVP World.
Good afternoon and thank you.
So on one hand, record low water level in Vistula River and warning of possible floods following expected torrential rains. The hydrological situation in Poland remains a big concern not only for environmentalists and scientists. So how do you interpret this simultaneous occurrence of drought and extreme rainfall in Poland from this environmental perspective?
Well, unfortunately, this is how the climate crisis looks like. From one hand, the absolute drought, and from the second hand, the risk of the floods. And a similar situation was in last year in September, when we had in Poland and in many other countries of Europe, of Central and Eastern Europe, we had a flood made by the same situation. I mean, the climate is changing and it is getting worse and worse. The experts say that we in Poland from 10 years have a permanent drought, and with each year the situation is just getting worse. And this is not only the case of Vistula River, but a lot of rivers in Poland are facing the lowest ever recorded levels of water.
And so, could you please explain to us what are the potential ecological consequences of a torrential rain hitting a region already suffering from low groundwater and river levels?
Well, first of all, when the soil is dry, its ability to absorb water is much lower than in normal circumstances. So when in the face of the drought, when there comes a torrential rain, the risk of flooding a region is much bigger. And it's not only problem for us, for people, or for our infrastructure and agriculture, but it's also a big problem for the nature, because a lot of animals, for example, birds, are living near to the rivers. And where the flood comes, it also destroys their habitats. So this situation is very dangerous from all perspective.
So how prepared is Poland's infrastructure to handle such a difficult, sudden, intense rainfall and current drought conditions?
As we saw last year, we are not prepared for such situations. I mean, the artificial reservoirs that we have right now, they are not enough. And the main problem is that we destroyed the nature, and the nature lost its ability to absorb huge amounts of water. So what we have to do, we have to focus on restoration, on nature restoration, because the more wilderness we have, and the more biodiversity we have, then the nature is more resilient for such circumstances. And if nature is more resilient, then we are also more resilient for torrential rains and droughts.
Do you think this is reversible? Can we go back to and reverse those trends, urbanistic trends that we've observed and to which we've followed and adhered to for many years?
Actually, yes, we can. And European Union gave us tools for that because of the nature restoration law. The nature restoration law demands that we have to make the situation of nature better, that we have to get the wilderness get wilder. I mean, we have to restore wetlands, for example, and old growth forests. And thanks to that, the nature will get again its ability to absorb more and more water. And so it will stay not only in the wet times, but also it will absorb it for the times where there are no rains. And because of the climate crisis, we are facing more and more periods of time that are without any rain in many places of Poland, but also in many other countries of Europe. Europe is most, Europe, our continent, is not prepared for the climate change. And thanks to nature restoration law and other tools that we can use, we can change the situation and makes it better. But first of all, what we have to do, we have to stop climate crisis. We have to stop burning the fossil fuels like oil, coal, and gas, because burning them are deepening the climate change. Basically, our planet is boiling right now.
So absorption, as you mentioned, is just one part of the problem, and Poland is not an exception here. Last year, 2024, we've seen in Germany, Romania, Slovakia, Czech Republic, Serbia, Austria and Slovenia also heavy, exceptional floodings. So could these weather patterns be linked to broader climate changes trends observed in this part of Europe, especially with cyclones and such as Ligurian law, for instance?
Fortunately, yes. And I can say that it is a scientific fact that it is connected to climate change. All experts are saying that the weather anomalies like this we faced last year, September, there are going to be more of them because of the climate change, because we have because the temperature of the seas rises, and because of that the water evaporation from oceans, rivers, seas, it increases, and yes, more heavy situations and more anomalies will appear in each year. Unfortunately.
It's not only Europe, it's also United States. We've just seen a torrential rain in Texas, killing more than 70 people. So what do you think, what are the immediate steps that could potentially local authorities and also national authorities take to mitigate the potential damage, and also to find a solution to counterbalance such a threat?
As I said before, first of all, we have to stop the climate change, and we can do this by zeroing our emissions and by stopping burning the fossil fuels. That's the first step. We have to stop our planet for further boiling, and then adapt. Not then, but at the same time, to adapt, to make more wetlands, to restore this nature that we lost and this nature that can help us. And of course, resign for things like concreting our rivers, because concreting our rivers, it's not making them more resilient. No, it's making them it's making them more facing the more danger from flooding.
Aleksandra Wiktor, Greenpeace Poland biodiversity campaigner. Thank you so much for joining us here on TVP World Talks.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching World Talks. Please stay tuned to TVP World for more interesting topics, commentaries, and continuous news.